3 bone-chilling desert horror stories that will haunt you forever under a blood-red sky, in the heart of the desert where shadows stretch and whispers travel on the wind. 3 stories of terror unfold. These tales, drenched in mystery, claw beneath your skin. They grab at your heart, leaving it pounding and your mind racing. Each story is more chilling than the last, drawing you deeper into the darkness, where danger lurks behind sun-bleached rocks and moonlit dunes. The first tale is about the Coyote Woman. She roams the barren landscape, her hair wild and unkempt, eyes like 2 glowing embers in the night. Farmers have lost their livestock to her grip, but it's worse than that. She lures men to her with sweet, sultry songs that trickle through the heat, intoxicating them. Many have disappeared without a trace, leaving behind nothing but echoes and terrified families. Some say they hear her laughter soft, enchanting, and edged with malice. Imagine stepping outside your door only to see her silhouette, a predator waiting patiently in the fading dusk. Things get darker as the second story unfolds, the tales of the lost highway. They say this road appears out of nowhere, winding through the desert like a serpent ready to consume you. Travelers who dare to take it often encounter flickering lights that vanish when approached. But that isn't the worst part. Beware the sound of laughter echoing in the stillness. They say it's the ghosts of those who've been driven mad by the isolation, entrapped forever in the stretch of desolation. Cars have been found abandoned, the driver's eyes wide with terror, but nobody knows where they went. And then, there's the last horrifying chapter, the Sandwalker. It's an entity born from the very grains of the desert. People claim to feel eyes watching from the dunes, giving them a chill that makes their blood run cold. If you're caught wandering after dark, the Sandwalker will toy with you, leading you in circles until exhaustion veils your senses. Your thoughts spiral into panic as you realize you're not alone, something is out there. It thrums beneath the surface of the sand, always just out of sight. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect, now. As the sun fades and the stars blare like distant warnings in the wide-open sky, will you dare to venture further into the desert's heart? What secrets lie dormant, waiting for a soul brave enough to stir them? The night had wrapped the desert in a cold embrace, the kind of chill that gnaws at your bones. As the moon hung like a ghostly eye, a figure crept along the shifting sands. It was Jenna, a local who had heard the whispered legends of the Coyote Woman and the Lost Highway. That night, after too many drinks at the dusty bar in town, she wanted to see for herself if the stories were true, if there was anything out there worth fearing. The prickling sensation on her skin told her she wasn't completely alone. Shadows danced behind the cacti, flickering like flames in the darkness. She fought the urge to run as she squinted into the night. Was it just the wind playing tricks, or was there something waiting for her? A sharp cackle pierced the silence, chilling her to the core. Jenna clamped her hands over her ears, heart racing. The laughter was haunting, bright with an energy that felt wrong, unnatural. It echoed around her, teasing her to probe deeper. She took a hesitant step forward, pushing against the pull of fear and curiosity. As she ventured farther, the ground seemed to shift beneath her feet. The desert was alive, murmuring in a language only it could understand. Shadows folded into larger shapes as she crossed the threshold of the Lost Highway. It lay before her, black and inviting, its edges shimmering tantalizingly under the moonlight. Just a peek, she whispered, sinking into the hypnotic promise of adventure. The hum of her heartbeat drowned out the world, her mind lost in intoxicating dare. She stepped back onto the road, the asphalt smooth under her feet. And just like that, the air thickened with tension as headlights flickered in the distance, but the lights did not come closer. Instead, they flickered, danced, and vanished as quickly as they appeared. Jenna felt sweat trickle down her back. Voices began to tease her ears, swirling in a low crescendo that froze her blood. The laughter surged again, echoing all around, and panic sent her heart into a wild thrum. She turned, desperate to escape, but the dark shapes loomed larger. Sand stirred around her as if the ground itself were alive, shifting and folding, hiding secrets she wasn't meant to uncover. The Sandwalker. Had she wandered right into its realm? Jenna spun on her heel, the sense of being watched heightened with every heartbeat. Shadows twisted, framing her in their dark embrace. Each direction became indistinguishable from the next, and dread crept down her spine. She was not just lost, she was hunted. A sudden rush of wind sent sand flying into her face, momentarily blinding her. She inhaled, choking on the grains of the desert, and staggered back. It was then she heard it, a whisper against her ear, soft and soothing, yet filled with malice. "Come to me." The sound was unmistakably feminine, a seductive call that threaded through the night like a vine wrapping around her exposed limbs, coaxing her deeper into danger. The coyote woman had found her. What was Jenna about to lose by following that haunting call? A glimpse of her fate flashed before her eyes. Would she disappear into the sand, a new tale for those who dared to listen? As she fought to gain control, she felt something tighten around her ankle, pulling her towards the shifting dunes. She screamed a raw, desperate sound, but it was swallowed by the desert's voice. With the shadows closing in fast, Jenna's mind raced. What would her choice be? And in that jagged moment between panic and realization, another story began to unfold, one far darker than she could ever anticipate. Was she about to become part of the desert's dark legends? Only time would tell. The pull around Jenna's ankle tightened, a cold grip that echoed the soft menace whispering in her ear. She looked down, her heart hammering as a coil of dark sand spiraled around her leg, slithering higher with each desperate attempt to break free. She could feel it wanting to drag her down into the depths of the desert. "Stop!" she gasped, kicking at the ground as she fought against the unseen force. The laughter grew louder, mocking her struggles, cascading through the desert air like a sinister melody. Each laugh felt like a blade, cutting deeper into her resolve. "Come to me," the voice cooed again, sweet and tempting. But this time, it wasn't just an invitation, it was a command. "Get away!" She screamed, but the sound felt weak in the vast emptiness. Panic clawed at her chest, every breath threatening to suffocate her as the shadows around her twisted into nightmarish figures, haunting her with the weight of stories long forgotten. Another wave of panic washed over her. The ground shifted, swirling with a dark energy beneath her feet. The lights of the lost highway flickered erratically, like a heartbeat fading in and out. She had to get out of there. With a fierce determination, Jenna wrenched her leg free, stumbling back as the sand coiled around her ankle broke apart. But the moment was fleeting. She turned and darted down the road, her mind racing faster than her pounding feet. The air felt thick, oppressive, as if the night itself was trying to suffocate her escape. The whispers morphed into a cacophony, each voice weaving tales of despair and entrapment. "You can't escape," they sang, over and over, a chorus of doom echoing in her ears. Suddenly, she skidded to a halt. Ahead of her, she caught sight of a flicker of light, faint and wavering, like a candle's flame battling the wind. Hope ignited within her chest. A car? She thought, the possibility spurring her forward. Maybe she could wave them down, shout for help. But as she drew closer, her heart sank. It wasn't a car. It was a figure, a woman, standing serenely at the edge of the road, hair billowing like smoke, eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Jenna froze, all rational thought fleeing her mind. The woman beckoned, fingers curling like vines, drawing her closer. The darkness swirled around, folding into the outlines of other figures behind her. The shadows were alive and hungry. No, Jenna moaned, backing away instinctively. But each step felt heavier, the desert absorbing her fear and swapping it for a sense of foreboding. "Join me," the coyote woman said, her voice dripping with a seductive promise. Jenna's heart pounded painfully against her ribcage, each pulse a reminder of all she had left to lose. Surrendering to the call would mean giving in to the desert, becoming just another ghost in its endless expanse. She turned to run, but the figures behind her surged forward, amalgams of shadow and sand, grabbing at her limbs. The laughter crescendoed, and Jenna screamed, the sound spiraling into the night. Desperate thoughts raced through her mind. She wasn't prepared for this, for whatever darkness lingered here. She fought, kicking and thrashing against the hands of the night, but they only tightened their grip, pulling her closer to the floor of the desert. Jenna gasped as she felt herself lifted off the ground, a sudden surge of power lifting and carrying her forward. Then, with a sharp twist, she was free, flung into the soft embrace of the sand. Gasping for breath, Jenna scrambled up and glanced back. The shadows retreated, but only momentarily. They would return. A surge of energy flowed through her, a blend of fear and raw adrenaline, igniting the survival instinct deep within, but the coyote woman loomed closer, her gaze undeterred. "You cannot escape your fate, Jenna. You will always belong to the desert." Jenna shot to her feet, adrenaline pulsing through her veins, racing against time, against the vast emptiness that yearned to take her. She sprinted deeper into the night, every heartbeat a drum of urgency, praying for salvation, for the taste of freedom. Suddenly, the laughter echoed again, wrapping around her like a shroud, encasing her in cold horror. Her throat tightened, and she realized that escaping the desert's call wasn't just a fight against shadows. It was a battle of wills, the sands whispering promises of power, the woman tempting with knowledge and fear. With a grounding breath, Jenna pressed on, fighting the urge to look back as the laughter faded into an eerie silence. But as she ran, she couldn't shake the feeling that the desert was watching, waiting for the moment she would falter, when she would finally give in. What dark truths lay in wait for her out there? And more horrifyingly, would she find the strength to confront them before they consumed her? Jenna's legs pumped like a well-oiled machine, the desert air stinging her lungs as each hurried breath fueled her desperate flight. The endless night stretched before her, a vast expanse of darkness laced with the faint whispers of the shadows, coiling into her thoughts, weaving doubt into her mind. "You can't outrun us," they taunted, echoing off the dunes. She had to keep moving, though. Behind her, the shadows shifted and surged, a tide of darkness hungry for her light. Jenna glanced back, catching a glimpse of the coyote woman's glowing eyes piercing through the veil of night, steady and calm, a predator waiting for its prey to tire. Suddenly, the ground beneath her shifted again, unsettling her balance as sand rippled like water. Jenna stumbled, her heart racing as panic clawed at her. She had to find shelter, something solid that could shield her from the encroaching dark. To her left, a series of jagged rocks loomed, silhouetted against the pale moonlight. With one decisive glance over her shoulder, she veered toward them, the sound of her feet pounding the earth drowned out by the roar of fear in her head. The laughter, a sinister symphony, followed her like a stampede, the promise of entrapment hanging in the air. As Jenna reached the rocks, she ducked behind one of the larger formations, pressing her back against the cold stone, heart racing and ears straining against the eerie silence that enveloped her. The cacophony faded into a low hum, shifting to a rhythm that whispered secrets, calling her name in soft, tempting tones. "Jenna, come back, no!" She hissed at the darkness, hugging her knees close to her chest as if it could protect her. For what felt like an eternity, she sat there, listening, waiting for the desert to pass her by, to allow her a moment's peace. Time twisted, slowing to a crawl. Then, the stillness shattered. Footsteps. Rustling. Someone or something was getting closer. Her heart fell into her stomach. She held her breath, straining her ears, praying to hear a human voice among the sinister whispers. Perhaps it was another lost soul, also trying to escape the grasp of the coyote woman. Suddenly, the unsettling silence rang in her ears, followed by a soft sigh. "You're not safe here, child." It was a different voice, gentle yet filled with an undercurrent of dread. Jenna's pulse raced as she turned slowly, eyes wide. An old man stood a few feet away, draped in tattered robes, his skin weathered like the rocks around them. His expression was a mixture of pity and understanding, and his eyes held knowledge that made her shudder. "They're coming for you. You can't hide," he whispered, glancing toward the shadows that danced behind her. Who are you?" Jenna stammered, 1,000 thoughts racing through her mind. Was this another illusion by the desert? Another layer of the darkness testing her sanity? "I was once like you," he replied evenly, as if they shared a secret. "I fled from the desert's pull, and it cost me everything." His gaze turned somber, eyes clouding with memories. "But I learned their truths, their riddles. The only way out is to confront the heart of it all." "Heart?" Jenna echoed, feeling cold creeping back into her bones. "What does that mean?" "The coyote woman has a piece of you now. You must take it back," he said, voice dropping to an urgent whisper. "She feeds off fear. Find your courage. You can't simply run." She felt her throat tightening. "But how do I?" Before she could finish, the laughter returned, a signaling chorus that amplified her terror. The shadows coalesced into familiar forms, stalking closer, ever closer. Jenna's heart raced. "What do I do?" The words tumbled out, desperate. The old man leaned forward, the edges of his form flickering like a flame about to be snuffed. "Face her, Jenna. Only then can you reclaim your freedom." His words hung in the air as the shadows began to swirl around them, rising like a storm. With trembling hands, Jenna looked ahead, feeling the weight of the coyote woman's gaze upon her. There was no more time for hiding. She took a step forward, heart pounding not just with fear, but with a flicker of boldness igniting within. "Show yourself," she called, voice trembling yet laced with defiance. Then the world went still. The change in the air sent chills down her spine. The darkness hushed, and she felt the desert hold its breath. What awaited her as she stepped forward? Would she find the strength needed to reclaim her life, or would the night swallow her whole? A stillness washed over Jenna, thick and suffocating. Darkness wrapped around her like a shroud, a stark reminder of the unseen threats lurking just out of sight. Her heart thudded in her chest, a wild drumbeat against the silence. "Come on," she whispered to herself, the urge to flee nearly overpowering her voice. But she couldn't let fear claim her. Without warning, a gust of wind whipped through the jagged rocks, sending sand swirling like a tempest. It felt like the desert itself was alive, breathing, boiling with energy. Jenna gritted her teeth, standing firm despite the fear slithering up her spine. "Coyote woman. I'm not afraid of you," she shouted, each word laced with the will to believe it. The shadows shifted, coiling tighter. And then, a figure emerged from the depths of night, gliding like smoke, an ethereal silhouette framed against the silvery glow of the moon. The coyote woman materialized, her features hidden beneath the veil of darkness, but her eyes glimmered with malevolence, two gleaming orbs that bore into Jenna's soul. "It's cute how bravado masks your terror, little one," she hissed, her voice smooth like the slide of a knife. "You truly believe you can stand against me? Many have tried, and all have failed." Jenna's breath caught. What was she really facing? Every fiber of her being screamed to run, to hide, but she stood firm, anger bubbling up inside her. "I want to let you take me." The coyote woman's mouth twisted into an unseen smile, the sound of her laughter echoing in a sickening whirl. "Oh, but I have already taken so much from you. Can you truly face what you fear?" Images flooded Jenna's mind, memories of her past, loved ones lost, moments where she felt powerless, abandoned, forgotten. A lump formed in her throat as one haunting thought rang clear. Would she truly have to confront the shame she hidden beneath her bravado? "Let go of your fear, and I shall give you back what I have claimed," the coyote woman beckoned, the shadows around her forming a whirlpool of darkness, drawing closer with each taunting syllable. "Face your regrets, Jenna. Only then can you be free." "No!" she shouted, shaking her head. The pain in her chest echoed louder, clashing against her defiance. You can't control me. With a burst of adrenaline, Jenna charged toward the flickering darkness, fists clenched. Memories flooded her mind, faces flickering like a movie reel, but amidst the shadows, her fear transformed into something sharper. Anger coursed through her veins, a sudden burst of strength. I won run, and I won hide. As she reached into that swirling dark, time slipped. The shadows clawed and pulled, chaotic tendrils reaching out like icy hands. But she wouldn't falter. Jenna closed her eyes, summoned every moment of hurt and every ounce of regret she held deep, and thrust them into the void. With a deafening roar, the coyote woman shrieked, the darkness writhing violently, the ground quaking beneath them. What have you done? She cried, furious. Jenna opened her eyes, the desert around her vibrating. She had stepped into the eye of the storm. Instead of trembling, she felt a new light, a warmth igniting from her core, pushing back against the dark with every ounce of courage she summoned. I reclaim what you've taken. She screamed, her voice rising above the chaos. In that moment, she felt the brittle threads of fear loosening, unraveling like old fabric. The laughter dissolved into a haunting wail, the coyote woman's form flickering, desperate to maintain her hold. The shadows began to retreat, curling back in fear as the light within Jenna expanded, illuminating the rocks, dispelling the grip of night. Would this be enough? Would courage and defiance vanquish the darkness? But then, the laughter returned, not the coyote woman's, but a chorus of whispers from the shadows. This isn't over, Jenna, they taunted, shadows still watching, waiting in the hush. Before Jenna could breathe, the earth below shifted again, threatening to swallow her whole. She stood on the cusp of destiny, ready to confront whatever came next, but as the ground trembled beneath her feet, one thought surfaced: had she truly broken free, or was the coyote woman merely biding her time? With the night still swirling around her, Jenna steeled herself, knowing the worst was still yet to come. Jenna's heart raced as the ground trembled beneath her. Dust danced in the air around her, swirling like the fragmented pieces of her past. She could feel the shadows gathering again, reconstituting themselves like a pack of wolves waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Every whisper of the wind carried the chilling remnants of fear. She turned fiercely to face the coyote woman, who was still trying to regain her power, her dark figure just a wisp of shadow encroaching again. Don't think for a second this is over. The word sliced through the air, defiant against the chaos. But the coyote woman simply smiled, a menacing grin that twisted her features. Ah, dear Jenna, but the darkest hour is still to come. You have only glimpsed the surface of your despair. How much more are you willing to fight? Jenna felt the icy fingers of doubt creep back into her mind, each chill igniting memories she wished to forget. The loss of her brother, the betrayal of her best friend, the emptiness of her silence when she needed to scream. Each recollection tugged at her heart, threatening to pull her back into the suffocating depths the coyote woman had crafted so well. No! Jenna shouted, shaking her head violently, as if she could will the memories away. But the laughter resonated around her, warmth intermingled with an unsettling dread. You can't escape your past, little one. Every sorrow anchors you to me. Face the truth, and perhaps, just perhaps, you can save yourself. Stop! She screamed into the abyss, feeling the winds coil tightly around her, laced with scorn and temptation. Maybe the truth was a wretched beast she could never tame. Yet, as the shadows inched closer, she remembered the warmth that had surged through her when she pushed back. Gritting her teeth, Jenna reached deep within, igniting that flicker of light she had embraced just moments before. You don't own me, she declared. Not anymore. With that proclamation, she thrust her hands forward, feeling heat radiating from her palms as if it was forged from her very essence. The light sizzled, it flowed like molten gold, pushing back the shadows. The coyote woman's laughter faltered, turning into a snarl of frustration, but the darkness resisted, reaching eagerly to engulf the light, desperate to suffocate it. You cannot fight me forever. It will consume you. Maybe, but I'd rather burn as a blaze than fade into your void. Jenna roared, exploding with raw energy. She could feel her resolve solidifying into something tangible, something powerful. The desert began to shift, the shadows swirling around her self-made light, battling for dominance. Jenna held her ground, a fierce resolve etched on her face, sweat pooling at her brow. The whirlwind swirled, the echoes of despair weaving through the air. Jenna's will pushed, forcing the shadows back, even as they clawed at her skin, wanting to break through, but then, suddenly, she felt it a flicker in her spirit, a trembling hesitation as the whispers turned into screams. "You'll regret this, Jenna. You've opened the door to something far worse. What worse could there possibly be than you?" She shouted defiantly, breathing heavily as she poured every ounce of faith she had into that radiant burst, yet in the storm, she suddenly saw more shadows emerge, figures creeping out from the darkness, distinct yet unreal, reminiscent of faces she had lost. Each one bore a resemblance to someone she had loved, each one laced with sorrow. Terror gripped her once again, a vice around her heart, as she realized the Coyote Woman's threat was more than mere intimidation. "Jenna, let me show you what lies beyond the light," the shadows whispered, a pull she found hard to resist, a siren's call beckoning her into the unknown. As they coalesced around her, she felt frayed, lost in the storm of memories and doubts, the light flickering against the advancing onslaught. Would the shadows claim her, or could she find the strength to withstand the darkness that sought to consume everything she was? Jenna felt the weight of her choices swirl around her, and suddenly, everything hung on that precipice of decision as the whispers intensified, closing in around her. The battle for her soul was only just beginning. Jenna braced herself as the shadows enveloped her, echoing whispers sharp as shards of glass. They circled her, calling out the names of those she lost. Her brother's laugh, forgotten, her best friend's betrayal flashing like lightning through her mind. Each syllable cut deeper, pulling at her essence as if the memories had tentacles. She felt them wrap around her heart, squeezing tighter. "Let them go, Jenna. You can't afford to be weak," she urged herself. But the shadows hissed in unison, a cacophony of voices manipulating her fears. The desert shifted around her, an ever-tightening coil of darkness, each grain of sand molding into the faces she used to know. "No! No!" she cried out, desperation weaving through her. She'd fought so hard against the Coyote Woman. Could she really take on the ghosts too? The battle raged within, her spirit kicking against the memories like a trapped animal. "Remember what they did," the shadows cooed, flickers of betrayal igniting through her. They mocked her, reminding her of the laughter that turned to screams, of the joyful moments that spiraled into nothingness. "Feel the pain." Jenna's breath quickened. The warmth she had summoned, a flicker of resilience, was flickering now, dimming in the tempest of old sorrow. Her knees weakened as she stood tall against the shadows, each step challenging herself not to surrender. Grinding her teeth, Jenna focused on the light left within her, calling on it fiercely. "You don't control me. I will not be your puppet." Her voice echoed defiantly through the desert, but the shadows twisted back, seeking every ounce of pain to pin her down. With desperation coursing through her, she thrust her hands forward. A brilliant flash broke through the darkness, the golden light exploded like fireworks, illuminating each shadowy figure for a fleeting moment. But every leap of brilliance rekindled the shadows, grabbing hold of her like chains. "Foolish girl." The Coyote Woman's voice cut through the storm, rising above the clamor as a serpent might taunt its prey. "Your threat means nothing in a world turned by your own grief. You can't escape your truth." "No!" Jenna roared, her words filled with conviction. "You think my past is a weapon? I'm not my memories. I'm more than sorrow and regrets." As if sensing her strength rising, the shadows lunged forward, fierce and ravenous, clawing towards the light. The ground shook violently, a reminder that she was battling not just memories but all the pain that had festered within, and suddenly, she saw a shimmer within the shadows, an outline distinct from the others. It was her brother, his face a haunting blend of love and sadness. His presence struck her like lightning, and the floodgates opened. Jenna, please, he whispered, the sorrow edged with longing. Don't let them win. Tears streamed down her face, reflecting the battle unfolding around her. It was a choice, stand and let the grief envelop her or push back with the light, fueled by love, the last barrier against despair. Stay with me. Jenna choked out, reaching for her brother, but the shadows twisted him away, pulling him further from her grasp. In their place, others loomed, mocking once more. Jenna staggered back, stunned. They were morphing into something worse, almost like human forms, maw-like smiles stretching wide, ready to consume her. She felt herself teetering on the edge of her sanity. Could she find the courage? As the wind shrieked, she realized the truth: the coyote woman fed on fear, on her fear. And suddenly, clarity struck her. What if she unleashed the very memories the coyote woman hoped to claim? Would it weaken the hold of the shadows just enough for her to escape? Time frozen, Jenna braced herself. She felt tiny at that moment, but she would not let the darkness claim her. Not again. With a scream that mixed with the desert wind, she dove deep into her memories. Each one unraveled in waves, a painful release that danced on the edge of despair. I remember, she growled. And I'm sending you back. I'm moving on. Suddenly shattered laughter spread through the night, and she felt the ground quaking. But Jenna did not falter. She would not disappear into the shadows. But then, she heard a new whisper, something different. But what if we want to let you go? Clarity left her as another wave ripped through the inferno of shadows, pulling her further down, into oblivion. Jenna's eyes opened wide, uncertainty flooding her veins. Could she break free, or was she lost in the darkness forever? Jenna felt her spirit slipping, the relentless pull of the shadows dragging her further into their abyss. The cacophony grew louder, countless voices merging into a deafening roar. They debated her worth, confidence shattering under their scrutiny. You're nothing without us. No. The word escaped her lips like a lifeline. She screamed it again, battling against the weight of her memories. The shadows flickered, momentarily stunned. In those brief seconds, Jenna gathered every ounce of light within her, the warmth of love and hope buoying her spirit. Then she felt it, a spark of resistance. It ignited in her chest, radiating outwards. You want my fear? Here. With that shout, she channeled her deepest heartbreak and resentment into a blinding beam. Memories rushed forth, cascading like a waterfall, each one a vital piece of who she was, every laugh and tear, her brother's soothing presence, the bittersweet moments of joy mixed with the sour sting of betrayal. She unleashed it all. The air crackled with tension as the shadows recoiled from the torrent of raw emotion. Foolish girl. The coyote woman's voice sliced through the storm. You don't understand, pain has power. You can't fight the darkness. But Jenna hurled her voice above the fear, you don't control me. My pain is my strength. The words resonated through the layers of darkness, igniting sparks of defiance within her. In that moment, the shadows lunged at her, desperately clawing, their forms twisting in and out of focus. They were flaring with rage, a threatening storm surging toward Jenna, a last-ditch effort to snuff out her light. But she stood her ground, refusing to be consumed. With a fierce determination, Jenna drew from her heart every loved moment, every betrayal, every loss, and she shaped them. They transformed into mirrors that reflected her strength, amplifying her defiance till the shadows flinched back. Instead of despair, light poured from her like molten gold. Look all you want, she shouted, her voice echoing defiantly through the sand and shadows. You are nothing compared to what I've survived. She thrust her arms out, and with a massive wave, the memories surged. Each flash of brilliance chased away a shadow, piercing the gloom like knives, but then she noticed something shifting among the chaos. A figure began to form, breaking through the vortex of darkness. It was familiar yet warped, an unsettling distortion of her brother. His eyes were pleading, but the edges were frayed, as if stitched together by the dark fabric of the shadows. Jenna, help me, he spoke, but his words were tangled with sorrow and fear. No. Jenna's heart raced, torn between rescue and the realization that this could be a trick. You're not him. You're just a shadow trying to lure me back. The darkness surged again, swirling with fury, replicating her brother's voice, help me. I'm lost. You can't leave me. Jenna's chest tightened. Love collided with responsibility, a desperate choice weighing on her heart. She felt herself slipping, the shadows beckoning with false promises of comfort. But the flickers of light still blazed within her, illuminating the grim reality that she had fought too hard to let it all go now. Enough. She roared, focusing all of her will into one last push. She hardened, letting the memories of laughter infuse her with strength. Bracing herself, Jenna pivoted, ripping the brotherly projection apart with a catastrophic burst of light, scattering shadows like autumn leaves caught in a spirited wind. Silence fell abruptly, a heavy, suffocating quiet. Was it over? Had she truly banished them? But Jenna could feel it, a lingering dread. The coyote woman's laughter echoed deep within, a promise of revenge packed with malice. You think you've broken free? This isn't the end, darling. It's only the beginning. As shadows began to reassemble, Jenna felt a new wave of uncertainty washing over her. Was the darkness still lurking, waiting to strike again? Show your true form. She cried defiantly into the abyss, feeling the trembling ground beneath her feet. And in response, a pulsing darkness began to spiral outward, unfurling, revealing not just shadows, but swirling shapes and entities ready to reclaim their prey. Jenna's heart raced. Was there no escape? Or was this the moment where all battles culminated? Jenna, the whisper crawled back, slithering through her mind, igniting that familiar fear. Can you truly banish us, or are you merely stalling the inevitable? Her breath hitched in her throat, realization dawning mercilessly. The shadows may not just be her past, they could become something far worse. With the finality of the confrontation looming, Jenna stood at the precipice of despair, her heart pounding. Would she find the strength to continue this fight, or was the darkness poised to swallow her whole? The ground quaked beneath Jenna's feet as the shadows coiled closer, writhing like serpents eager to strike. She felt the air thicken with malevolence, a palpable force that threatened to crush her resolve. Those swirling shapes bore down on her, morphing into monstrous forms, twisted faces and grotesque bodies that bore fragments of her own fears and regrets. Enough. The desperation bleated in her voice, but she pushed through. I am done living in your shadow. Each syllable seemed to ripple through the dark mass, forcing the shadows to pause. For a heartbeat, the fray abated, and Jenna grasped that moment fiercely, summoning every ounce of hope flickering within her. Light shatters darkness. She screamed, thrusting her hands forward again, channeling the warmth of cherished memories, her mother's laughter, her brother's embrace, moments of triumph that had once seemed small, but now glowed as brightly as stars. With renewed vigor, Jenna unleashed a torrent of light. It surged from her palms, beaming like a celestial pillar amid the storm. The darkness writhed, howling in dismay as the shadows recoiled, their ghastly features twisting in agony, but then screams erupted from the core of the dark mass, melding into a cacophony of wails that surged all around her. It was deafening, an agonizing symphony that sent spikes of terror racing through her. Ignoring the voices was impossible, they clawed at her sanity, each one an echo of doubt whispered in a million breaths. Jenna! You can't escape. You'll never be free. Join us. The mocking encircled her, a cyclone of anguish, and in that storm, she felt the edges of her resolve starting to fray. But in the center of that chaos a memory flickered, her brother, alive, encouraging her to carry on despite any storm. Not this time. Jenna shouted back defiantly, prefacing each word with fervor. I am not afraid. With that, she poured every ounce of love and anguish into one single beam of light. It shot forth, cascading through the shadows, cutting deep like a dagger. But as it pierced the darkness, the coyote woman's laughter reverberated through the chaos, mocking her efforts. Foolish child. Your light is but a spark in a vast void. You have underestimated the depth of your despair. As Jenna's heart pounded, she felt the shadows coiling tighter, their forms merging into something more substantial and entity. It solidified, a towering figure crafted from her fears, a grotesque parody of the family she once cherished. It reached out, elongated fingers stretching and twisting like tree branches in a storm. No. Jenna's voice trembled, recognizing the helplessness that was creeping back into her heart. You can't have me. I won't let you. Igniting her fury, she released a brilliant flash that momentarily illuminated the darkness. The entity wailed and shrank back, dissipating briefly under the brilliance. But as the light began to fade, it surged back, angrier and more chaotic than before. Your memories are your prison, Jenna. We will always be part of you. A chilling realization settled in her gut. The shadows were not merely external threats, they lurked inside her, feeding on her vulnerabilities, made flesh by regrets and self-doubt. She wasn't just battling them, she was contending with her very essence. With every breath, the chilling weight of her truth settled. I have to face them, truly face them. Jenna thought, steeling herself. She felt that familiar spark, ignited by pure will. Just before she could reach deep within and unleash yet another surge of light, a blinding flash erupted from behind her, momentarily obstructing her vision. Jenna! A voice cried. It was her brother, looking as real as she remembered, desperate and alive. I'm right here. You're stronger than they are. But confusion knotted her stomach as the shadows shifted, forming more illusions of loved ones begging for help, pleading for her to come back to them. Each voice twisted, a heart-wrenching mimicry designed to exploit her emotions. Do you trust yourself, or them? They gnarled, the sound ricocheting in her skull. Jenna's heartbeat thundered, urgency sliding down her spine. In the face of her brother's illusion and the entangling darkness, a late realization struck as she clutched at her chest, feeling for the source of her inner light. Show me the truth. She yelled, her voice ricocheting through the shadows. The shadows stirred violently, their energy tightening in response. Would they reveal her greatest fear, or were they about to crush her belief in everything she fought for? The answer lingered in the charged air like an electric shock, pulsing with an imminent revelation. As the shadows quivered around her, Jenna braced for the onslaught. She could feel the weight of their whispers tugging at her soul, demanding her attention, and she stood poised at the center of her turmoil. Show me. She shouted, the fervor in her voice amplifying her courage. Instantly, a surge of energy pulsed through her, and the shadows shifted again, coalescing into a reflection of her life. One silhouette emerged amidst the storm, a mirror image of her brother, but twisted, his eyes filled with a sorrow she had never wanted to harbor. You abandoned me, Jenna. He howled, anguish flaring in his voice like a wildfire. Jenna staggered back, heart clenching. No. You know that's not true. I tried to help you. But even as she spoke, doubts crawled back, slithering around her mind like coils of constricting vines. The truth hidden behind her fears shot through her, whispering that maybe, just maybe, she had failed him. Face it. The shadows hissed, a sinister chorus echoing. You couldn't save him, could you? With each taunt, Jenna felt a fracture deepen within her, a visceral reminder of regret seeping to the surface. But still, she swallowed hard, determination swelling in her chest. He wouldn't want me haunted by this. I loved him. And I will not let you win. She roared, her voice shaking the very ground beneath her. As she thrust her hands forward, raw energy surged forth, a vibrant light bursting from her core, igniting every shadow it touched. In that moment, the echoes of the laughter and whispers shrieked in pain, crumbling like plaster under the weight of her defiance. Let go of your grief, Jenna. Her brother's apparition yelled, though now it seemed softer, less distorted. Remember the love we shared. Remember me. That single phrase shifted something within her. Jenna began to let go not of the memories, but of the shame tied to them. She closed her eyes, focusing on the warmth of love rather than fear, softly calling on the best memories they shared, the laughter, the silly games, the warmth of his hugs. Each memory revitalized her light, resonating against the shadows, and she felt tears welling in her eyes. I cherish you, she shouted, and her words wrapped around her heart like a shield. You're part of me, not my prison. The shadows flared in anger, twisting and writhing, battling against her radiant spirit, but the love ignited within her fractured them, creating fissures of light in their once impenetrable darkness. Jenna gasped for breath, the weight lifting as she stood firm, heart pounding a valiant rhythm. See who you really are, she continued, emboldened by the warmth flooding in. You can't keep me. I will not allow it any longer. Streams of light radiated outward, consuming despair like a wildfire, burning it to ash while engulfing the shadows. The coyote woman shrieked, her form flickering, the shadows arching back in agony as memory reunited with love flooded them. No! You can't do this! She screamed, the baleful weight of Jenna's defiance threatening to overwhelm her, stripping her of power. But Jenna pressed on, willing to confront every blurred face and sorrow that had once clawed at her heart. I am stronger than you think, she declared, and as the final tendrils of darkness contracted, her love burst forth like sunlight, obliterating the last remnants of her fears. With one magnificent pulse of energy, light enveloped everything, coiling around the remnants of the coyote woman, crashing against her shadowy figure with the force of a wave. No! The voice cried out, but it was shot through with a tremor of fear. In that radiant embrace, Jenna felt the weight of everything she had ever lost, but also the strength she had gained coping with those memories. They tangled together like roots, forming something unbreakable, and then, in a brilliant explosion, the shadows were consumed, their devastating grip on her slipping away like sand through fingertips. The light enveloped Jenna, casting away the darkness, leaving a suffocating silence in its wake. As she stood there, breathing heavily, the desert around her quieted, the wind whispering a soft song, no longer taunting but soothing. The coyote woman and her ghastly minions had retreated into the annals of the night, leaving Jenna standing tall, the warmth of victory radiating through her bones. She felt different, lighter, an undeniable spark igniting strength within her. The desert, once a home of horrors, now bathed in soft moonlight, felt alive in a new way, offering her not just scars but healing. As dawn brushed gold across the horizon, Jenna closed her eyes for a moment, allowing herself to appreciate what she had achieved. I'm free, she whispered, feeling a gentle breeze wrap around her like an embrace. With one last glance over her shoulder, Jenna left the shadows behind her. She stepped forward into the future, a new chapter waiting, with adventure still ahead. Jenna knew she was not just a story of past fears but a testament to survival. And as she walked, she felt every heartbeat alive and determined, for every shadow thrumming beneath the surface had turned into a whisper of resilience. Now hear this, my friends. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now, show the algorithm some love. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what just went down. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this thrilling conclusion. Let's keep exploring these chilling tales together.